Hands are up. Amy, I'll let you decide who you want to. I didn't see
Yeah,
who.
Anusha had her hands up
Oh,
first,
thank you.
so you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, namaste everyone. I'm
Namaste.
Anusha. I moved from Dubai to Aberdeen last year. I'm a certified yoga teacher. I just wanted to start my yoga classes, but wants to bring more awareness for the kids, for the elders, for the middle age, for everyone, I mean to us. So how should I start with? I'm registered, I have taken insurance. Now, what will be my steps to bring more awareness for the society?
Okay, so some of the stuff, there's a lot of crossover with what I was saying to Nicole there. So you've got your target audience, so you want to work with elders. So you have to look at, again, what problems are you solving? So what problems do elders have? So it may be mobility, it may be just general pain and aches. It could be all sorts of things. So you first have to look at what problems do we have, and you're going to work your classes or your teachings around improving that, or even in some cases, perhaps solving that. So you have to be very clear on that. And then you have to move into, you have to figure who is my target audience. Now, the reason it's working so well for Nicole at the moment is she is very specific. So one of the problems people make is they're too generic. My yoga classes are for everyone. Now, at some level, that might be true, but that's not going to help you really get focused in. So it's not enough just to go, I want to help elderly people. Like, start to create what they call is the avatar. Like, so my main avatar is going to be women between the age of 55 and 75. Like, start somewhere like that. It's not to say that men in that group can't come in or other people can't come in, but you have to start with how you're going to focus your classes, because creating generic anything never works. If you go, I'm going to make my classes fit everyone, because you don't solve any problems for people. It's just sitting in the middle. It's always take no risk, very generic classes, very nice, very lovely, but it doesn't get results. So again, same thing. Look at, okay, what's the main problems that group has, the elderly group? And what's the
So,
main problems that you're going to solve with that?
okay.
And then you have to go and find out where those people hang out. So your target group, where do they hang out? Where can you meet with them? Whether that's online or in person or community centres, coffee shops, you have to get into that environment. And what you don't do is you don't try and sell anything. So as somebody new and they don't know who you are, and a lot of them won't know what yoga is, don't talk about the yoga. Talk about the problem you're solving. This is the big mistake yoga teachers make. You should do yoga. Now, you've done yoga for years and you're passionate. To someone who's not done yoga, they have no idea what it is. It sounds scary. It might sound a bit culty. Yoga is the solution to a problem. It's the how. This is how I get the result. I do this thing called yoga. But you don't start by talking about yoga. You start by saying, hey, I hear a lot of you guys saying you have really lower back pain. I've got something that can really help with that. 70% of the time, people who come and do this, they have much more mobility. They lose most of the back pain. The pain rate goes from 8 out of 10 to 2 out of 10. I'd love to do a class with you guys and show you, make it accessible. I'm not going to charge you for the first one because I know this stuff works. I just want you to get a sense what it's like. I'm going to do a free taster class, do a 45-minute taster class. But it has to deliver. It can't just be words. And that's why it's not some generic class. So instead of going, oh, this is for old people, all old people should come to this, pick one thing. Start with one thing, whether it's lower back pain or whatever it might be. Start with that and say, right, I'm going to do a 45-minute free taster. I'm going to find out where these guys hang out, go to healthcare homes, go to community centres, find out, get into their world, and don't try and sell. Don't go and say, hey, you come and buy my course, come and pay me money. Do not do that. Just go in, talk to them, listen to their words. When you are advertising and marketing, you want to use their words, not yours.
Do you know what I find, Bruce, building on that? The lower back pain's really good, but for older people, certainly that I'm aware of and that I talk to, as they get older, they're having trouble sleeping. And sleep is sort of such a universal one. So you might have people that aren't suffering lower back pain and they're like, oh, it's not really for me. Whereas sleep, we could, I think we all do live in a state of a scarcity mindset with regard to sleep. It's never enough, or it's not deep enough, or it's not long enough, whatever it is. But sleep is something. A lady came to the class last week and she's slightly obsessed with her sleep and lack of quantity of it as a parent of sort of primary school age kids. And she's been tracking it on her watch. And a week after the class, she said to me, I'm amazed. The deeper sleep I had after the class went up significantly the night of the class on the Monday night. And she said, but I've been struggling to get my deep quality sleep up at 10%. It's been in the low single figures. The whole week after, it has maintained at 10% for 5 days after the class on the Monday night. And the Monday night, it went up to something like 48. She was like, I'm blown away. And this is on her Apple Watch. She's recording it. And I said, that's amazing. Tell everyone and come back next week. And it's that sort of thing. Do you want to sleep better? It's so motivating for a lot of people. And I know you're trying to be single-minded and say choose one thing, but it's nice to choose one thing that's as broad as possible as well.
Yeah, so this is a brilliant one. So sleep is great because now it opens up to not just elderly people, as you said. But here's the thing, if you're going to market that, you don't talk about sleep, you talk about the impact of lack of sleep. So instead of saying, are you getting enough sleep? You go, are you agitated? Do you feel like you've got no energy? Do you feel you wake up exhausted? You go to bed exhausted, you wake up exhausted. Do you feel your libido's dropped? Do you feel you can't concentrate? Pick up all the things, get the top 10 things. Say, do these sound familiar to you? Do any of these sound familiar? It could be that you are lacking sleep or the quality of your sleep is lacking, because it may not be the hours, it may be the quality of sleep, it may be broken. The good news is there's a solution to this. And hey, don't believe me in that. Talk to this person who came to the class. They went up 48%. So again, one of the key things is not coming from you, because everyone's thinking, well, it's your business. Of course you're going to tell me that. Like, hey, don't take my word for it. Talk to some of my students. I can tell you that you've seen up to a 50% improvement. And they're happy to talk to you. And so again, you start to work with people. I think the sleep's a great one. And again, if you got this right, absolutely long term, it could go online. So you're no longer relying on one-to-one classes. But yeah, it's absolutely great, Nicole, spot on. But talk about the problem. And the problem isn't necessarily lack of sleep, because it could be quality of sleep. So you give them the symptoms first, because that's what's in my head. I might not even be thinking, I might not be aware it's lack of sleep. I know that sounds silly, but you think people know that or they're measuring that, but they might not be. They might just be, God damn it, I wake up as tired as I go to bed. I'm always knackered. I'm always moaning about things. I'm always negative. Like, okay, hang on. It may be. Have you measured your sleep? Have you monitored your sleep? And then also you're bringing technology for the modern people using Apple Watches and stuff like that. Hey, if you want to go down that route, it's not for everyone, but if you want, there's lots of things you can measure that now. If you're not sure, you can get things like an Apple Watch and these different things. So there's so many, you can see it instantly how that builds into something. So I think, Anusha, with stuff like that, sleep's a fantastic one, but pick something and look at what the actual symptoms of that problem are, and find a way that what you're doing improves those symptoms or eliminates, hopefully, in some cases. And then get that in front of the people who it's affecting. And then once you've got all that, get some feedback from people who've had positive results. And now that's your business built and ready to go. Because in an ideal world, you shouldn't have to market. If you've got something that's exceptional, the people who are your clients will do your marketing for you. You think about it, if you walk into the office or your group of best friends or your partner or whoever it is, and you're raving. If I come to you and say, oh, I just watched this new series on Netflix, it's absolutely amazing. Honestly, you've got to watch this. How many people are going to think, oh, that sounds interesting, I'm going to go and watch it because somebody you know or trust or like or whatever has told you it's amazing? You're at least going to check it out. Versus you just see an advert somewhere and you think, oh yeah, I'm inundated with adverts and marketing all around me. So what you're aiming for, they call it in the industry raving fans. You deliver at such a high level that people are just raving about you. And not because you're paying them to do that, and not because there's no financials involved. They just are getting way past the results they expected. They're blown away by the results. So again, you're looking at short-term pain for long-term gain. When I give some of these things, people are like, oh, I can't possibly do free classes. That's taking my time and I'm not getting paid for it. You're thinking way short-term here. It's like people don't know who you are. They don't know what the product is. Why should they trust you? You've got to gain that trust. So think long-term. Don't think short-term with this stuff. But hey, Nicole, I love that one as well. There's a whole business around that for sure. And a business that helps people, and that's a global one. You're absolutely right. It's a complete global one. And then that suddenly becomes, again, you can get into getting government-backed support, because if you can demonstrate scientific improvement, and you don't have to do that because everyone's got Apple Watches now. So that wouldn't have been an easy problem to solve 20, 30 years ago. Now it is, because people have got the technology, and like if they share that technology with you and the results, you can say, listen, this isn't me. This is people sharing their results from their Apple devices. Look at the improvement. This is an absolute no-brainer at that point. That's a great idea, you know. Anyway, so Anusha, yeah, that's what you've got to do to get in there. Don't try and sell. Work out what the main problem is that your yoga's going to help with. Get into the environment where these people are hanging out and do some taster sessions. Allow people to get an introduction to it. Find a way, hopefully, where they can measure the improvement of the results. That's really important. It's not how you measure results, it's how are they going to measure results. So
I appreciate like you suggested me with good ideas. I just wanted to know, if I start with my online classes, is there any compliances related to that?
it depends what the classes are a little bit. If it's standard yoga, there's probably limited online compliance. That you want to make sure there's definitely insurance involved.
Yeah, insurance is covered. That's part is done.
Yeah.
Anything else other than that, I have to
Yeah,
take care.
well, when you see it in any sort of fitness videos, make sure you've got the disclaimers in there that you're not responsible, check in with your healthcare professional, doctors, all that sort of stuff. So again, the problem is you're not there. You've got to remember, you've got to think in your head, what could go wrong? You have to make sure that, first of all, you instruct people as much as possible on online stuff so something doesn't go wrong. Preventative is way better than solving it once the problem's there. But if the problem arises, make sure you've got all the legal disclaimers in place that you are not responsible for what somebody does on the other side of the camera. Even that may not fully protect you under law. If it can be demonstrated that you did something in your live class that was irresponsible or led people to damage themselves. So just be aware you're not in the classroom. So things like that, rather than just 100% compliance, because again, this is a difference, the mindset between, I just want to make sure I'm fully compliant, which is good, versus I want to go that extra mile. I'm not just doing only the things I have to do to be compliant. I'm going that extra mile to make sure there's absolutely no way something could go wrong and that people can get the best results. So I would suggest, if you want to go online, there's a million online things, there's a million free online things. You have to find a way to get better results than anyone else. If you're going to charge and be online, there's so many free things on YouTube and around just now. You have to find a way to deliver at a much, much higher level. Again, if you do what everyone else does, you'll get the same results. You have to go that extra mile. You have to want to go that extra mile. So if you just want to throw a few classes up online, you'll probably make a little bit of money, you'll get by, but it'll never go past that. It has to blow people away. It has to be exceptional. People feel like, wow, this is way above what I thought. This is incredible. And I got incredible results from this. At that point, it'll work, and it'll work big.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where I'd start with that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. There was somebody else, I think, that disappeared on my screen.
Yeah, Jane had her hands up. Do you still have a question, Jane?
Yeah, I do, but I do have to go at 3. So, yeah, it's just a lot of what you've said already is really relevant. So, I guess you'd describe me as a hobbyist because I'm a clinical psychologist by day. I've got a very busy NHS job with health, working in health. So I just teach one class at the moment, and I live in a very saturated market, a small village with something like 15 other yoga instructors in the village. So I've chosen to just keep one online class. My question really was, I've had the same group of students for, I don't know, 3-4 years. and I haven't grown at all. I haven't put a lot of effort into marketing other than I have a website and every now and then do a little bit on socials, but haven't really done a lot else. I would like to have more students, but again, as I said, I'm a hobbyist. It doesn't need to be a sort of massively income generating thing for now, maybe in the future. So yeah, just questions about, I think you've said loads of what you said already, it has really helped, but yeah, just if there's anything else in terms of growing a small online
Yeah.
class.
Okay, so first, let me clarify. When I say hobbyist, it's not about how many classes you're teaching. It's about mindset. So, and it's not about making loads of money either. It's like, do you need or want to make some money? So whenever people say to me, "I could do a few more students," it's like, okay, why? And if the bottom line is, well, it's more income or whatever, then there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's one of the major downsides. If I was talking to fitness instructors, they would have no problem talking about money and income and profit and all that stuff. You talk to yoga teachers, and this does not come from the students. There's this sense of, I shouldn't really be charging for this. It's yoga, and it's like, okay, but then you can't help people. You can't grow. You can't keep training. So the answer on how you can grow it, there's twofold. One is you have to create a development path for your students. So if you've had the same students for 4 years, you have to create a development path where they are growing, they are developing, and you have to understand what they want and how they're measuring it, not you. Hey, what's the end result you're looking for from this when somebody joins in? Find out what that is. And generally, it's 3 things. It's less stress, fitness, toning up, or flexibility. Usually, it's one or, and even if they say, well, it's all of those 3. See, I understand that, but what's the number one thing? Why did you first come in? What was it looking for? Well, it's weight loss. Okay, so how much do you weigh right now? What's your target goal? How long have you got to do that? What's driving? What's behind that? So you have to create that development path for them. So, beginners 1 courses, beginners 2 courses. I used to teach Ashtanga for years. So it was like primary series, second series, advanced series, that sort of stuff. So there's a natural progression. So you create this element of progress. People thrive when they are learning and they're growing. The 2 top human needs are growth and contribution. They want to grow, and then eventually you want to contribute back. That's the ultimate. And that's the 2 sort of spiritual elements. The 6 human needs, if you look at Chloe Madanes, she talks about these 6 human needs. It's almost like in the chakra centers, in yogic teachings, once you get through the heart center and above, you're into growth and contribution. Below that's about survival, and a lot about me. So you create that development path and understand what your students want and how they're going to measure that. The second, for that to happen, you have to keep growing. So what's your own personal practice like? How much CPD stuff are you doing? How much are you pushing yourself to keep growing and developing? Otherwise, your students will surpass you. And they'll reach a stage where they're actually better than you, or they know more than you, and you can no longer help them. Now, that's okay, but you have to be prepared to let them go and get new students. So there is people who do that, who never go past teaching beginners. It just means there's more pressure to constantly keep generating more and more beginners. Now, even if that was the case, what you can do is you can partner up with somebody who does advanced stuff. So you can say, hey, listen, I'm really good at teaching beginners. They're passionate, but I'll be honest with you, my level only really goes as far as that. But I can prep people, and why don't we work together? So you can push beginners to me, and I'll push intermediate advanced people to you. And now we create a little collective. Remember that thing I said about working together? Well, let's try it for a bit. No commitment. Let's see if it works. And I think my slideshow I was going to talk about, and I know you've got to leave at 3, so I'll do it in 45 seconds. One of the things is understanding what business you're in, what business are you really in, and what business do you need to be in. So, for example, a lot of people say, oh, I'm in the business of teaching yoga. What if I'm in the business of making people healthier and happier? Now that opens the world up. Now that's anyone. The yoga is just how I do it. It's not. So what business do I really need to be in? So that depends on where you want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I'll keep this slideshow because it's all prepped. I'll maybe do it in one of the next ones. I'll do an additional session. But so I think I would step back and look at the fact you've got a lot of the same students mean you are delivering at some level because they're sticking with you. But if you're only teaching one class a week and they want to progress faster, they will have no choice but eventually to go somewhere else. They might feel loyal to you because they like you, they get on well with you, and they love what you do, but not everyone just wants to do yoga once a week. So they're going to feel like I need to move on now, I need to do something. So that, I think I would start with that. Create a program that's got progress, even if you're not teaching it, you're partnering up with someone, and then figure, what do I need to do to keep growing and developing yourself?
Yeah, I think that's really helpful. And that's the thing that between, a day job, kids, and teaching yoga and so on, that's the bit I struggle to find the time for. So yeah, it's just reminded me that that is absolutely an area that I need to focus on.
I think that organizing your time, so being able to say no is really hard for artists. So being able to say no to your partner, your kids, your students, you have to allocate time slots and go, tell your family, tell your partner, right, for these 2 hours on this day or that day, I'm working on the yoga business and it's non-negotiable. Husband, you deal with this or that. I'm not around. Switch your phone off. Do not look at your phone. I'm going to work on this stuff. And then we'll come out and we'll go on a picnic after. It's that sort of stuff. You have to start allocating your time. You can't drift through. You have the vision, you allocate time, and you allocate time into these different areas. So I'm going to allocate time on understanding my student database. Now, the good news is because you've got a long standing relationship, they probably will be quite honest and open to giving you feedback. And instead of just sending like a survey, it's great to jump on something like this. And maybe make it something, they get something out of it as well. We'll do a short session, we'll do a short 20-minute, whatever it is, mindfulness session, yoga session, whatever you're doing, yoga nidra. And then we're going to chat about what you guys want. How can you progress? Record it. It's easy. You just record it on Zoom. You can play it back and find out what are people saying they really want. And you have to get them past the point of just the positive stuff. It's like Nicole was saying earlier, everyone wants to hear that you're an amazing teacher, I love you. I guess, okay, but what am I not doing? If there's one thing I could do better, if there's one additional thing I could bring in that would just make it even better, what is it? You want people to start telling you that stuff. What could I do that means you would tell your friends and family to come along and try stuff? Really dig in deep. I think you've got to set up, it sounds like with these long-term relationships, you'll get some genuine positive feedback. You don't have to follow through, but at least you'll know now what's in their head. And then from there, you can decide, okay, if I want this to go a bit further, let's take their feedback. Let's create some progression. What would I need to train in for me to progress in line with that? Who do I need to partner with? Whatever it is. And then set boundaries with your students, with your partner, with your kids. Go, right, this is mummy time. This is business time. This is partner time. I know it sounds very structured and life's not quite as black and white, but it doesn't matter if you don't stick to them. They get used to you going, no, non-negotiable, no. Occasionally it's good.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Ruth.
You're very welcome. I know some people have got to go off. Stephen, you've got your hand up, so I will jump in. If people need to leave, that's absolutely great. Thank you so much for everyone's time. I will answer your question, Stephen. No offense taken if people jump off, though. I understand that totally.